Morning everyone, welcome back. Today I'm laying big, beautiful natural edge bluestone steppers down the side paths and out the front garden. I'll also be pulling up some old brick paving at the front and reusing them as edging to tie in with the paving I did out the back. Then I'll finish it all off using Tuscan topping to fill in between the stones and give everything a tidy, natural look. This video is a continuation of the garden from my last one. But if you haven't seen that yet, don't worry, this isn't a murder mystery. You'll be able to follow along just fine. So kick back, relax, and let's get stuck in. Out the back, I recently did some paving, and now it's time to tie the front and sides together. Big steppers, some rustic brickwork, and plenty of character. I'm taking up the old bricks at the front. They've done their job for a long time, but it's time for a refresh. I'll be repurposing them for the path edging. They'll link the front to the garden out back, where I used the same bricks, so everything feels connected. For all the paths, I'll be laying the stones on a stable mortar bed, which sits over compacted crushed rock. Doing it this way gives you a solid foundation. No wobbly stones down the track, and it'll handle a bit of foot traffic without breaking a sweat. Once the rock and mortar are in, it's all about setting the stones at natural intervals, making sure everything's as level as it needs to be, but still has some natural, organic flow. I'm using string lines to guide the height of the crushed rock. This allows me to get a consistent slope throughout the path. I've put down a crushed rock base about 50mm thick. This base is really important because it gives the whole path a strong, stable foundation. It helps with drainage too, letting water filter through instead of pooling on top, which keeps the stones solid and reduces movement over time. Plus, crushed rock compacts nicely, so the mortar and stones have something firm to sit on without shifting or sinking. It's a simple step, but it makes a huge difference in how long the path will last and how good it looks down the track. Now, you might be wondering, why bluestone? Well, these steppers aren't just a pretty face. Bluestone steppers have a backstory that goes way beyond garden dreams. The stuff is an ancient volcanic rock that forms when lava cools and solidifies over millions of years. Most of the bluestone used here in Australia comes from places like the Victorian volcanic plains. It's the kind of rock that's as tough as they come, dense, durable, and built to last through, well, just about anything everyday life throws at it. When these boulders get pulled out of the ground, they're sawn into slabs or cracked into pieces that keep their natural shapes, so every stepper you lay has its own unique edges and character. That's why you get that natural, organic look in a path, nothing cookie cutter or too perfect. Before setting the bluestone on the mortar, I like to prime the underside of each stone using a bonding agent like Bondcrete or Bondmate mixed with a bit of cement and water. This step is important because it helps the mortar grip the stone better, creating a much stronger bond. Without priming, especially on stones that aren't super porous, the mortar might not stick properly and the stones could loosen or move over time. It's a bit of extra work up front that pays off by making the whole path more durable and long-lasting. If you're from around Melbourne, or you've just spent time wandering the landways, you've probably noticed those dark cobbled alleys, the ones with character, where plantings, cafes, and history blend together. That's bluestone, used for streets, curbs, and lane paving since the mid-1800s. It started out as the go-to for roads and buildings during the gold rush, cheap and abundant and easy to cut and haul thanks to convict labour and local know-how. Even the foundations of big-name buildings in town, the Parliament, Town Hall, and some of our earliest public spaces, are bluestone through and through. You'll spot it holding up elegant old churches and some pretty iconic facades around the city. For a while, bluestone fell out of fashion. People found it a bit dark and heavy, but these days it's got heritage status, and folks are keen to keep those original stones as martyrs of history. There's more to the story though. Bluestone has a much older track record. Indigenous Australians have used it for thousands of years, from eel traps and stone houses in Victoria to land markers. There's this amazing eel trap system in Victoria, built from bluestone and still standing after more than 6 millennia. It's not just rock, it's a link to culture, land, and the stories that came long before us. Practically speaking, bluestone nails it in the garden. It's solid enough to stand up to the weather, doesn't get too slippery when wet, and those chunky, irregular shapes mean you can create paths that feel relaxed and natural, not stiff or overly manicured. The surface has a bit of grit too, so even if it rains, they're good underfoot. On the downside, if you're in an area that gets lots of strong sun in summer, bluestone can get pretty toasty. Being a darker stone, it soaks up that heat more than something lighter like sandstone. But for most garden spaces, the good outweighs the bad. Bluestone's pretty low maintenance. Sweep it off every now and then, pressure wash if you've got muddy boots stumping through, and that's about it. If you ever need to rearrange the path or move things around, steppers can be reset pretty easily, as long as the base is right. One thing that makes bluestone a standout these days, besides the look and the history, is that it's actually one of the more environmentally friendly hardscape options out there. It's a natural material, so no need for heaps of chemicals or treatments. And if you're using stone from local quarries, you're also cutting down on transport miles. Plus, bluestone lasts for decades, sometimes centuries, so it's a pretty responsible choice if you care about making something that'll stand the test of time. On this project, bringing in the old bricks for edging isn't just practical, it's a nod to the way Melbourne scrambles and reuses bits of stone all over the place. Sometimes, you find bricks or bluestone in an old garden bed, lever them out, and give them a skin act somewhere else. Brick and bluestone blend beautifully together. The warm tones of the brick complement the cool hues of the bluestone, creating a consistent and harmonious look throughout the garden. So the plan is to keep the bluestone going all the way around the house and down into the back garden. Honestly, it just makes the whole place feel a lot more put together. When I started this project, I wanted each part of the garden to feel like it belonged to the same story, not like a bunch of different pieces thrown together. Using the same stone everywhere might sound simple, but it really changes the vibe. Walking from the side paths into the backyard, you get this feeling like the garden's flowing naturally, almost like the stone's guiding you around. Bluestone's tough and beautiful, and it just fits, whether you're stepping out back for a coffee or heading down the path to check the plants. For me, it's those little details, like having the same stone underfoot and having the same bricks in different sections, that make a garden feel like home. It's subtle, but it adds up to something special. If you like the look of these steppers, there's also crazy paving, same stone, but cut or split into irregular shapes and laid out in a random pattern. It's great for patios in spaces where you want an even wilder or more rustic character. Bluestone adapts, whether it's a formal entrance or a winding garden path, it always adds something. While I'm laying these bluestone steppers in the back garden, I can't help but think about how important the backyard is in any home. It's often where we relax, unwind, and reconnect with nature after a busy day. Gardens aren't just about looking pretty. They're little outdoor havens where memories get made, whether it's sharing a morning coffee, watching the sunset, or simply listening to the birds. For me, working in the garden is a chance to slow down and be present. It's not just a project, it's part of a lifestyle I really enjoy. And when everything comes together, the stones, the plants, the garden beds, it feels like a little personal sanctuary right at home. Some people tend to neglect the backside of their garden, treating it as just a utility space that doesn't really need to connect with the rest. But I'm going to build the step for the laundry door using the same bricks that run throughout the garden. By doing this, that area won't feel like an afterthought or just a functional spot. It'll flow naturally with the rest of the garden. Using consistent materials like these bricks helps create a sense of unity, so even the practical parts of the yard feel like they belong to the overall design. It's all about making every corner count. The stones that I'm kneeling on here will be in the lawn, so I'm making a brick edge to separate the toppings from the grass. Let's talk for a second about Tuscan topping. If you spent any time poking around garden paths in Victoria, you've probably spotted that warm, earthy gravel underfoot that looks like something straight out of the Mediterranean. That's it. Despite the name, Tuscan topping is actually an Aussie special. It's made from local sandstone or limestone that's been crushed down into a mix of chunky bits and fine dust. The end result? It packs down solid, drains well, and just gives you this gorgeous sun-baked colour that makes any path or garden bed stand out. One of the best things about Tuscan topping is how versatile it is. It's pretty much a go-to for creating garden paths and driveways. It doesn't get slippery, and it feels natural underfoot. Gardeners also use it as a kind of mulch, scattered around garden beds to help keep weeds down and the soil nice and cool underneath. It's got this relaxed vibe that works whether you're after a modern look or something a bit more rustic. There's a bit of history and a story behind it too. The Tuscan label is all about the vibe, borrowing that classic Italian terracotta feel, but the material itself is straight from local Aussie quarries. It got popular as people started moving away from solid concrete or boring old pavers. Folks wanted something that looked amazing, was easy to lay, and fit in with sustainable gardening trends. Designers love Tuscan topping for its effect on colour. It brings out the green in plants, sets off the grey in stonework, and just generally makes everything feel a bit more lively. Plus, it's easy to fix. If your path gets a bit uneven or you want to freshen things up, just rake it over or add a bit more. It's lower maintenance than you'd think, and way better for water drainage than a hard surface. So, whether it's laying down a new path, topping up garden beds, or just adding that touch of Mediterranean style, Tuscan topping fits right in. That's part of why it stood the test of time in so many Aussie gardens. There's still plenty more planned for the back garden, including laying down lawn, creating garden beds, planting, and mulching. All these next steps will really bring the space to life and help everything settle in beautifully. So, while the hardscaping is coming together now, the garden's still a work in progress, with plenty to look forward to as it develops. That's pretty much the story for today. New steppers, old bricks, and a bit of bluestone history, all tied together in one project. The garden's slowly coming together, bit by bit, with each job linking up with the next. If you've got any thoughts on working with bluestone, or want to share your own backyard path saga, let me know in the comments. I'm always keen to hear what works for others, or what you try differently. Thanks for following along. Cheers, and see you next time.